You've most likely heard of the term Souls series, or Souls games, or you might even just know about Dark Souls, consisting of Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and the newest release, Elden Ring. These games are best known for their challenge and feat. And if you've heard anything about these games, you're probably well aware of how hard they are, often described by players and critics as infuriating or impossible, or even...
Not recommended. Too much sword. Me no like sword. Sword bad, no likey sword. 0 out of 10. Too much sword and difficult. Can't do it. Too easy.
I really wanted to like this game. I really did. But there's one problem with my experience. It was too hard. I started the game as a sorcerer because I'm not fond of melee combat. But I like the person who has a little sex all the time. I can say, this game is 100% the
Game sucks. Way too mainstream, boring story, and combat. I would have enjoyed it more if they hired 8-year-olds instead of industry professionals.
Wait, I think that's my review on Far Cry 5? And obviously everything I say here is my subjective opinion. If the Souls series isn't for you, that's totally fine. But if given the chance, any of these games can be an amazing experience. From the gameplay and sense of reward when overcoming a seemingly impossible challenge, to the amazing art, music, character design, and storytelling, there is always something to be appreciated. Now, if you're a newcomer to the series or are considering playing any of these games, you're probably left wondering, where do I start? Or even, why should I start? The Souls series is undeniably challenging. Although I'd consider myself good at these games, I've seen this death screen many more times and I've been nice to my mum. But regardless of how many times I've been on the verge of tears, I would consider the difficulty the best aspect of the series. The difficulty of these games can mainly be attributed to the lack of hand-holding, as most games you might be familiar with are often over-tutorialized and sometimes overwhelm the player with information. But the Souls series will put you straight into the game after some very, very vague exposition. I personally like the system as it promotes a learning curve that revolves around trial and error. You're faced with a challenge and you learn to adapt and overcome it, and the sense of accomplishment when you do is unparalleled by any other game I've played. And I'll use Dark Souls 3 as an example. After creating your character and watching a short cutscene, you're put straight into the game. And as said before, this series does not hold your hand one bit. The messages seen here are pretty much the full extent of the tutorial the game provides, and it's just a brief explanation of the controls. As you progress, you'll eventually encounter Udixgundir, the first boss, and the first roadblock you must overcome. I remember the first couple attempts to beat the boss looking something like this. Though after several attempts you start to learn. You might think, okay, this enemy uses a long-range spear, so I'll try standing closer to him. Or after several attempts you might start to recognize patterns in the enemy's movements. Or you can even play with friends to make the game easier. And to answer the question at the start, you can really start with any of the games in the series. They all have their ups and downs, but they're all solid choices. And I hope my video has possibly intrigued you about the Souls series. Thank you for watching.